Hi, it's Joseph Rittenhouse, your financial educator. I'm here in Milan, Italy, Milano, Italy. It's in the northern part of Milan. You know, it's that famous fashion place. It's one of the fashion capitals of the world. I want to talk to you about why it's important for you to travel to get new ideas about what's going on in the rest of the world, or maybe not even in the rest of the world, maybe just in the rest of your country. Why it's important for you to not only just leave your country, but even just leave your city. When I was 20 years old, I was lucky enough to go to Taiwan, and the first thing I realized was, wow, other places, other countries do things well, and sometimes they even do them more well than back home in the United States. I'm from Riverside, California, which is close to Los Angeles, California, and I grew up thinking that everything that we have there must be the best. The food must be the best, the transportation must be the best. I'm sure everything we do is the best. And thankfully, at a young age, when I was 20, I left the country, and it put me in my place real quick. And for the rest of my life, from starting from 20 on until now I'm 38, is I realized that I don't know everything. And I thought, maybe not just with countries, what about with attitudes or with lifestyle or with thinking? So at a very early age, I learned keep my mouth shut, travel, keep my eyes open and my ears open, and see what other people are doing that is better than what I'm doing. Because I'm in Milan, I'm going to pick on fashion a little bit here, and I also want to point out that I actually do appreciate fashion, even though it doesn't look like it. And one of the reasons why I don't care much about fashion at this point is because I'm on a plan towards financial success. So right now, clothing is not that important to me. A lot of the mentors that I look up to, these multi-millionaire property investors owning hundreds of houses or thousands of apartment units, they dress just jeans and t-shirts, jeans, t-shirt, cowboy hat, cowboy boots, and a blazer, something like that. So at this point in my financial journey, fashion is not that important to me, but I do appreciate it, and I'm just going to pick on it here for a minute. I did have a Singer sewing machine, and I did enjoy making clothing when I was about 18 years old, and actually I would like to get back into it. So Milan, it's a fashion capital of the world, right? That's what they tell us. We see it on television. Milan, just like Paris, just like New York. Other people tell me that's the fashion capital of the world, but I would have to ask you, fashion capital of what? Are you talking about like modern clothing? Are you talking about like overall fashion throughout history in this location? Because I've traveled a little bit, I've seen other places in the world. For example, let's start with Mongolia. Mongolians have some pretty bitchin' clothing. Their clothing from before was just rad. Hats, women's headwear, hats, long sleeves, no gloves, but wear long sleeves to protect the hands from the cold. Awesome boots. Also think of this, in Mongolia there's, I forgot, I think 11 different ethnicities. That's different types of Mongolian people that live in the country, and each one has their own different, pretty unique style of clothing. Could you imagine if in the United States every state had its own style of clothing? I'm not talking about just like different colors of t-shirts, but in Mongolia each area's clothing is pretty different in style and color. It's beautiful and amazing. Also, men can wear different kinds of clothing depending on the season. Just really rad culture, and you see things like in, what was it, the Star Wars movie? Remember Natalie Portman, I forgot the character, remember the headdress that she wore? That's Mongolian inspired. And so sometimes I see in modern fashion, they're taking ideas from places like Mongolia. Another country that I was really impressed with is Indonesia, and as of now I think Indonesia had the most impressive fashion I've ever seen. Their older folk fashion that they don't wear so much anymore, and their modern fashion, it's just pretty rad. Both the Mongolians and the Indonesian, their modern fashion is inspired by their older stuff. Indonesians, wow, beautiful colors. It's the way they mix the colors, you would think this is not going to work. You can't put a light blue with a dark orange and a black, it's not going to work, but they make it look so beautiful. Men alone have many different things they can wear down below. They can wear not only pants, they can wear the sarong, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like a dress down to the middle of the shins. That's what it looks like. It looks like a dress kind of. Also, sometimes men will wear pants with a small thing that looks like a skirt. I should know these words, but I'm using a Western description, but it looks like a skirt that they wear around the pants. It just looks awesome. And then the men will wear a hat with this little thing sticking up on the side. It looks slick. And even for me, when I was in Indonesia, I would be looking at men thinking, man, that looks sharp. So when you just say that Milan is the fashion capital, like what kind of fashion are you talking about? And also in those places like Mongolia and Indonesia, they still will wear their traditional clothing from before on special holidays and during special ceremonies like weddings and things like that. And also there's the Thai people, they have really amazing clothing too. But they still honor their old fashion as well as their new fashion. And one city I wanted to mention is Chengdu, China, spelled C-H-E-N-G-D-U. Chengdu, China, it's on the western side of China. This place, they told me before I went there that I'm gonna see some really beautiful people. The most beautiful people are there in Chengdu, China. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I got there and I realized, yeah, there's something about these people, they're really beautiful. And I found out what it was that all the people in Chengdu, China, or let's say like 60%, they all make an effort to wear really nice clothing. The women wear nice dresses, really cute shoes, all different. Everyone wears different clothing, and the men wear nice button-up shirts and nice pants. And I realized, yeah, these people are beautiful because they really put an effort into wearing a nice looking clothing every day. And so that was like 60% of the city. So if you ask me, here in Milan, I would say a handful of people, maybe 10-15% of the city, they really wear, hey, it's cool. They've got the suit, the ties, the shirts, and the shoes. The men look really slick. Women are wearing beautiful dresses, and I love it and I appreciate it. But on an overall scale, I'd say a place like Chengdu, China was just the population as a whole really appreciated looking nice, and I thought that was really cool, and I appreciated that. So when you tell me a place like Milan is a fashion capital, I don't just accept that, because I've seen some other cultures and some other places in the way that they do it. So that's why you need to travel, so that you can not only humble yourself and realize that we don't always do things the best way. There's other countries that do things in a different way, but also so that you don't get manipulated. What if someone like me comes back to the United States and I tell you that Milan is the best at this, at X, or they're the worst at Y? If you haven't traveled, you could be easily manipulated. You could also have an idea that sticks with you for the rest of your life. For example, I was just in France last week, and I had always been told, and man, I'm still upset about this. I had always been told that French people would not like it if you don't speak French. For my whole life I had heard that, and all Americans were like, yeah, you heard that, right? Yeah, that's what I heard, and I believed it. And so it affected the way that I thought of French people, even to the point of I didn't like French. 10% of the reason why I didn't like French was because of what I thought about the culture, which was wrong. So I get to France and I find out they were really nice people. They don't mind helping me with directions and things like that. And I didn't meet one impolite French person, even if I didn't speak French. And they were more than happy to speak English if they could speak English. So I'm still disappointed about that a week later, that I had let that misunderstanding, that wrong idea affect me for so long. Travel, get new ideas, don't be manipulated, find out for yourself, so that when you make your decisions in your life on what's what and what's going on around the world, you can make your own informed decision. From Milan, Italy, have a good evening.